Hi, my name's Relevant, and today on the show, a special treat. Dug deep into the archives of my personal collection, a Compaq Deskpro from 1997. And you might be wondering, oh, Mr. Relevant, what makes this so special? Well, you see, unlike the other computers I've featured on this channel, I have not turned this one on. We're gonna do it together. Once upon a time, a desktop PC referred to a specific type of PC, specifically one like this, where it went underneath the monitor. If you had a PC as we know them today, they were referred to as tower PCs. So there were two different classes of PCs. It's not a Celeron, that sticker's on there for amusement. It's actually a Pentium, or it was a Pentium. This is my Pentium reference system. Again, I got rid of a lot of computer junk over the years, and this is one thing that I held on to for a couple different reasons. One, and mainly, because it's complete. It's all in one. And for another, it's small. It's not taking up a bunch of space like a large tower and stuff. So it was easy just to shuck it on a shelf and forget about it. Now, I actually did use this thing. A buddy gave it to me in the something 2000s, and back when I had my FX51 gaming rig, I actually used this thing as a secondary kinda, even though computers were starting to get good, multitasking still wasn't a thing. They were still single core. So if you were in game, sometimes you couldn't Alt-Tab out because either it would take forever or it could even crash the game. So if I wanted to do some chitta-chatta on the old MSN, or maybe look up some tutorials, some walkthroughs, etc., I had to have a second PC. And obviously it wasn't going to be a good one, and I didn't have the room on the desk for another tower. So this thing sat underneath my monitor. And back in those days, my primary monitor was this Compaq P900. It actually right here has a switch to select between two inputs. That machine had two different VGA inputs. So when I got into game, I could have my main monitor being the game, and then I simply flicked the switch and it switched over to this computer. I had a KVM to switch the keyboard and mouse over so I could quickly chat over, and well, I bought it used at a surplus store. It didn't actually work very well. It did the trick for the most part. Cracking this open is just a little bit tricky because it's got a rather tight lid. Well, would you look at those tasty innards? Very proprietary, as is a, what do they call them? Partner PCs? I forget the term. We have ISA video card, which was common for the time. It has built-on VGA, and, well, that network card's an addition. Video, S3 Trio 64V2. Not sure how much video RAM this thing's got, but there is an upgrade slot right here for the video RAM. Oh look, one video RAM chip right there. If only I knew what those part numbers meant. I recall that this thing had a hard time pushing the resolution of the big screen. I actually had an add-on card to do that. Oh, look at these bad boys here. DIMMs PC100. 66 megahertz front side bus with 100 megahertz RAM. Two of them are labeled 64 and 64. They're all mismatched. We have a Micron. We have a Hyundai. Oh, look at that. Hyundai RAM. Even with the logo. Hyundai made RAM. Go figure. And then this one, well, I'm going to assume it's 64 too. Again, I haven't turned this on, so I don't know. Need to pull the front panel off to access these drive bays so that we can get deeper into the system. Oh, would you look at that? Once again, lucky number 37. And this is what I've talked about before. That's a cache RAM upgrade. Correct part number too. I don't know if this came with the system or I just happened to have it and I added it after. I wouldn't be surprised. So this guy's got a little bit more horsepower than your typical Pentium system of the day. But the funny thing is, it doesn't have a Pentium in it. Look at that guy. That right there is the AMD equivalent of a Pentium, an AMD K6 in 200. 2.9 volt core, 3.3 volt I/O. Just a plain ceramic dealie. I do have a 233 megahertz Intel processor for this guy, but At that point, I was established as an AMD fanboy, so when I got my hands on this puppy, I had to put her in there. Not gonna be a whole heck of a lot of difference in performance, even though my OCD did kind of like that it wasn't a 233. Hey, it has some dip switches right there for setting the speed. Let's just overclock it and see what happens. You never know, maybe there's a bit of silicon lottery. I just noticed the battery right here. Rayovac 3 volt, and it appears to be permanently mounted onto the board. That's gonna make it difficult for me to change it out. I mean, this thing's gonna be plagued with BIOS errors until such time that I change it out. And oh yeah, Cooler Master was a thing back then. Here's a little upgrade heatsink. I wonder if I should put in some fresh TIM. You know what? Yeah, why not? If we're gonna try to overclock the thing, we might as well do it right. Even though these thermal pads right here, I think were the overall solution. Maybe I should liquid metal this thing, eh? I'll go a little bit better. Some thermal grizzly conductonaut. And then you just kind of leverage this clamp into place. And then you kind of gave it a wiggle just to make sure that TIM was spread nice. That's funny because we didn't even really use it back then. This CD drive, don't know what it is at all. It could be something like an 8-speed or a 4-speed. It's a light-on CD-ROM drive, LTN 485S. That could mean 4-speed, that could be an 8-speed, or that could be 48-speed. May 2000. Actually, yeah, this CD-ROM I think was an upgrade I threw in there. I think it is something like a 48-speed or something decent that I didn't have to wait forever. Hard drive, not gonna pull it out, is a 3.2 gigabyte Seagate, I do believe. Let's get this thing all butt back together so I can fire it up. The funny thing is, Compaq used proprietary screws, Torx head screws. I don't know if they thought that was gonna keep the average user out. Who knows, maybe back in those days it did. Not keeping someone like me out, that's for sure. And as a value-added bonus, you see that connector there? The speaker. This is one of those rare systems, or it was actually common for systems like this that were maybe more business class oriented. The speaker was internal. And not just the beep, boop, beepy speaker, like actual whatever sound this computer, be it a game or a video, would be coming out this one little speaker. So that you didn't have to have an accessory sound system for it. This thing was pretty much ready to use as is. All right, well, let's go set this pupper up. All right, who wants to place bets on whether this thing's actually gonna work, or actually post, and or actually boot? I think if I'm reaching my target demographic, you're smart enough to make an educated guess based on the length of this video. So let's have at her. Oh. Okay, false start. Bad beeps. Blinking keyboard. That's a first. Never had that before. That could be a RAM error. We should possibly change out the RAM to see what happens. Or it could maybe just not like that video, or it could maybe not like the fact that the battery's dead on it. Uh-oh. Beep, beep, beep. I don't have codes for that. So now we have one 256 megabyte stick of known good RAM. Known good RAM. Now let's see what happens. Oh, well, that's more promising. And sure enough, there we are. Compaq Deskpro 2000, and of course, the very slow count up, which wouldn't be completely annoying if you had less RAM back in the day when you had less RAM, but now with 256 megs, that's gonna take a while. Oh, what do we have here? System options not set, time and date not set. Well, of course, that battery's going to be long dead. The following configurations were automatically updated. Disk, 3.2 gigabytes. If you're running Unix and you need to configure your system, use diagnostics. F1 to save changes. How do we get into pressed F2 instead of F1? No system disk error. Attempting to boot from CD-ROM. No system disk error. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All the disk is there. Well, I think we have a situation where we have to try to find our way into BIOS. But I don't know what it's gonna be on this. F12, F2, something like that. F12. Might have been F12. System options not set. Oh, look at this. Something more different is happening. F1 to boot now? We're going in circles here. Uh-oh. Oh, listen to that drive grind. There we go. Windows 2000 again. That was a favorite, wasn't it? And functional too. That means I'll be able to get this thing on the network, but I don't know what else I'm gonna be able to do with it. It's taking its sweet time. This is something quite possibly that like would need to be repurposed. Yeah. Oh, wow. Another crazy color scheme, right? Okay, what do we have here? Low resolution, funny looking. Internet Explorer. I do not know that I would use Internet Explorer, or maybe I did because this computer was so slow, only like IE would really run on it. What happens if I run MSN? Or what happens if I put this thing on the internet? Windows 2000 will accommodate modern protocols. Should be able to get this thing something close to online. Yeah, there it is. Which means if I go to My Network Places, well, it's taking a while. She's slow, bud. She's slow. Okay, well, that's anticlimactic. What happens if we run good old-fashioned MSN? Jamskis. What's Task Manager have to say? Why is it down there? RAM usage good. CPU usage is good. I guess it's all just lagging. Okay, I can't grab this. Oh, it's out of frame. Okay, sign in. MSN. Oh, MSN. And of course, it doesn't work. Appears you're behind a firewall. Oh, maybe it has something to do with the fact that MSN Networks doesn't exist anymore, unless they brought it back. And I'm sure if we run, oh my God. Do you guys remember Alta Vista? And why do I have such crap video right now? At least give me 8.6. That was totally my go-to search engine back before Google really took over stuff. That used to be one of the best search engines you could use back in the day. Is anything gonna come up? Oh, no. I'm surprised we even got that far. Apparently I was playing Doom 3. GameSpot. Oh, this is working. Kind of. Look at that. Okay, we have a video issue. I didn't use the onboard video. I used an extension video card. What card was it? There's probably not even the drivers for this card installed. I think it was my Stealth S220. I don't know what to say, man. This booted up my DSC. PC cam, some form of video capture. Wow. Well, I think we would have to cram some stuff in here, get that video working properly, and then maybe stuff will chooch a little bit better. And heck, you want to know something that I find interesting? Oh geez, it doesn't have proper shutdown. It just abruptly turned off. This thing, where are they? Oh, it's got jumper switches. And based on that chart, if I go off on the second here, we just overclocked it to 233. Let's see if it's gonna work. Oh, I really wish I knew how to get into like the options. Is it delete? Just keep hammering buttons until it does something. Check some invalid. That's great. F10. Oh, keyboard error. Why did I get a keyboard error? The plot thickens. This thing's got a mind of its own. Not gonna be very productive if we get into BIOS. Oh, that's great. Plot is definitely thickening. No reset switch. I guess we have to hard restart it. See if we have any better luck. So I guess we have to manually change out that battery with solder. And we're getting second sets of errors here. F1 to boot, is it gonna work this time? Oh, maybe. Check. Here we go again. And it's funny because it just worked, but maybe that's what we get out of this thing. One last hurrah, one last yo. This is what it looked like. This is what was here. This is who I was. But now, that is it. I might tinker on this a bit more and get back to you, but for now, I think we're gonna have to call it good. I hope you enjoyed this special treat. I think I'm stuck like this.